any kind of words that will express what we feel. My colleague Michael D. Higgins is the Labour Party spokesperson in this area, and he has for a very long time been arguing that the siege of Gaza is entirely wrong, that the idea that 1.5 million people are in such a small space, completely confined, completely controlled by military. Over half of them are children, a large percentage of them are refugees. And the fact that they are there in that situation, entirely controlled by Israel, is something that the world has got to stand up and shout about. And those people who went out in those boats had the courage to actually represent all of us and go to Israel and literally take their lives in their hands, and 9 of them represented here behind me lost their lives. Thankfully, the people on the Rachel Corrie, as far as we know, are safe. They stood their ground, and fair play to them. They didn't accept any kind of compromise. They are now apparently being escorted to an Israeli port. We're told that what's on board will go into Gaza. But I personally, and I'm sure everybody else, is very sceptical about whether that will actually happen or not. I mean, you know, the idea that toys are somehow dangerous, the idea that cement for building houses is somehow dangerous. This is an act of aggression. It's an act of control. It is an act of absolute, total inhumanity. And we, as human beings on this earth, have to stand up and we have to say that this has to stop, that it should not be allowed. And our government and the United Nations and all of the political establishment have got to get up now and have got to insist that there is stronger action in relation to Israel. And I believe we should have a boycott of Israeli goods here in Ireland. That nobody should be buying Israeli goods in this country. And you know, when you think about what happened in relation to apartheid in South Africa and when the Dunn Stores workers stood their ground, that made a difference, and eventually there was change. So every one of us has the power to do something that will make a difference, but essentially it's the political establishment, and unfortunately I'm part of that. We actually have more responsibility in terms of doing something. So I just want to say I'm really pleased to be here today. I think we all have got to stand up and be counted. I congratulate the Irish citizens and all of their colleagues who took their courage in their hands, who sailed to Gaza, some of whom have lost their lives, some of whom who have lived to fight another day. But there is a very, very big fight, and it's a fight that the entire world has got to take on. But thank you very much for allowing me.